As long as I do everything exactly like I practiced, I'll get through that. Oh, I bit my tongue!
Well, that was unfortunate. Hey guys, welcome to Beyblade Burst.
Let's Beyblade! Let's Beyblade! Beyblade! Let it rip!
I probably need to cut the Metal Saga a little slack from last time for a few issues. Some of you didn't like what I said about the Metal Saga and how I was nitpicking everything about the series. I know I was a little harsh on the Metal Saga, and like I've said before, there are some good things in the Metal Saga, but it's just that it's not a very good series if you were to compare it to the original. That being said, I still think Metal Fusion and the other two is better than Shogun Steel, but not by much. I stopped watching the show after Metal Fusion and watched a few episodes of the second season. I lost interest in the series until years later I started to rewatch older episodes and watch videos on YouTube. Also, when the third season of the Metal Saga came around, Nelvana was cutting down the episodes to make it shorter for some reason. When the series ended in 2013, people like myself started to lose interest in the show because of the disappointment of Shogun Steel, the spin-offs, and yes, even Metal Fury. Around 2015 to 2016, Nelvana decided not to dub the franchise anymore because of the feedback they got from the last generation and the spin-offs. They sold the franchise to Sunrise Incorporated, who did the dubbing for the new Beat 'em On seasons and was going to be dubbing the franchise for the next season or series. However, in late of 2014 and beginning of 2015, before the Metal Saga era ended, Hasbro re-released the Metal Saga Beyblades in a new toy line called Beyblade Legends. I'm not sure why they only re-released the Metal Saga blades instead of re-releasing both the original Beyblades and the Metal Saga, because the toy sales would sell well and maybe they could produce a fourth season of the original Beyblade or a fifth season of the Metal Saga. They had so much potential with this toy line, but nope! They only re-released certain Beyblades for this toy line from Metal Fusion to Metal Fury, and some of them were the same exact toys they released when Metal Fusion was released, but without the stickers and just painted symbols. After the failure of the Legends toy line in 2015, Japan and Takara Tomy made an announcement that Beyblade was coming back with a new season and new Beyblades. That means a season with new characters, a new premise, new Beyblades, and a different world. The new season would be called Beyblade Burst and was the 8th season of the franchise and was going to be another reboot. Now, people including myself had mixed feelings about this season. One was that for this season, the Beyblades would explode in battle, kind of like a crash out. 2, the system contained 3 parts instead of having 5 parts, which consisted of the layer, the disc, and the driver. 3rd, it was going to be another reboot. The designs were reminiscing of the HMS Beyblades. Anyway, after the first trailer of Burst came out, I had mixed feelings about this season because after what I saw in the Metal Saga and the Powered by Beyblade series, I thought they were going to rehash the same thing we've seen over and over again from the first season, which I was so sick and tired of. Like, can we have something different please, instead of rehashing the same story from season 1? Like, ugh! But what about Burst? Will it be the season that will improve the franchise? And is it better than the Metal Saga? Well, let's take a look. The season begins with Let's Go Valtryek.
Welcome to the world of Beyblade, where bays collide in the stadium alongside the passionate hearts of their bladers.
After our 28-second premise of the series, we cut to our new main character of the franchise named Vault Alley. He's battling one of his classmates named Rantaro Kiyama, and they have a battle in their school gym. Their blades Victory Valkyrie or Victory Valtryek and Rising Ragnarok or Raging Roktavor. Gosh, why do they keep changing the names of the Beyblades in every season? Anyway, they have their battle and Vault loses control of Valkyrie in their match and Rantaro gets pissed off at Vault. And like I said in my episode reviews, they deleted this scene in the English dub for no reason. But whatever, let's talk about the theme song. I'll start off with the Japanese theme. There's not much to say about it, but I like it. It reminds me of the Japanese themes for G-Revolution and Metal Fights themes. Now for the dub theme. At first I was concerned if it was going to be another translated theme or another rap theme, but like with the original, it was different from the Japanese version. We're off to a good start with the theme song. I mean, it's going to be uphill after Shogun Steel's theme, but Steven Alaric-Chen did a great job giving us a song that sounds like an old Beyblade theme, but unique and epic in its own way. It's once again a short theme song, but I still enjoyed it. This time the theme song genre is techno, which sounds alright, but I would just prefer a rock theme to it. Anyway, Vault and Rantaro begin their second match, and once again, Vault's Beyblade goes out of the stadium, and it lands in the equipment room with him. The principal gets upset with Vault and tells him to clean up the equipment room. As Rantaro is about to leave the gym, the principal stops him and tells him to clean up the equipment room with Vault. While Vault and Rantaro clean up, they talk about their girlfriends, I mean Beyblades. Rantaro says he's the greatest, and and is known as head honcho or boss. He says he'll never lose to Vault because he lacks the fundamentals or basics. But Vault says this.
I'm totally into Beyblade. More than anyone else you'll ever meet.
Oh, you will soon. Rantaro understands Vault's love for the game, but as I've said before, he doesn't have the fundamentals, and says it's all talk. But Vault doesn't know the meaning of fundamentals, and Rantaro gets pissed at him and causes him to mess up the equipment room again. And of course, like Nirvana, they deleted the scene where Rantaro yells at Vault, and Vault's face turns into the screen. Like, it's not even scary or frightening. I mean, yeah, it's disturbing, but it's funny. Kids would laugh at this. Then Vault's little brother and sister named Tokonatsu or Toko and Nika watch an interview of their friend Shu, who's entering in the district tournament, and is a high-ranking blader like Kai back in season 1. Shu's Beyblade is Storm Spriggan or Storm Spryzen, which is a combination or balance type. After watching Shu's interview, Vault and his siblings go to the same place where every episode of Beyblade was made, including other animes, and after they left the gym, Rantaro gets stopped by the principal again and tells him the equipment room is still a mess. Vault trains for a bit until Shu notices him.
What are you doing, Vault?
Huh? Shoo!
He tells Shu he saw his match from earlier and was amazed by his performance. Vault tells Shu he's joining the tournament as well, and says he'll beat him, similar to what Tyson said to Kai during the qualifying tournament. But Shu calls him a novice and tells him to meet him in the finals. After Vault and Shu have their conversation, we cut to Vault's house and meet Vault's mom. She has a conversation with Nika and Tokonatsu, and they talk about Vault.
The tournament is starting. It's no wonder your big brother is getting all excited.
Maybe a little too excited. You can say that again.
After that, we cut to Vault and is getting ready for the tournament and cleans up his Beyblade. Seriously, why does every blader clean their Beyblade with a handkerchief? First Tyson, now Vault. The next day, the district tournament begins and Vault, Shu, and Rantaro are there to compete in the tournament. While Vault was getting ready to take his ID picture, he gets distracted by Tokonatsu and causes him to bite his tongue. The opening ceremony starts and the president of the BBA or the WBBA, instead of Mr. Dickinson, it's some other guy named Shin Kamizake, and he has a few words to say to the bladers.
You are the future of Beyblade. Your long road to the world stage begins here. But victory can only belong to those with unbreakable determination. I wish you all the best of luck.
Then the first match of the district tournament begins, and Vault is chosen to be in the first match, and his opponent is none other than Rantaro. While Vault's entering the stage, he trips and bumps into Rantaro, and then he hits his chin. Damn, that's gotta hurt. This was another deleted scene, so in the dub, after Vault bumped into Rantaro, it just cuts away to the battle screen instead. Before the battle starts, Shin Kamizake tells both players how to win. A spin finish or a survival finish and a ring out finish or stadium out is 1 point and a burst finish is 2 points. The first round begins and Vault loses in the first round with a stadium out. Rantaro tells Vault that his disc has a gravity feature, which makes it spin longer since it's an endurance type or a stamina type. He once again tells Vault that he will never beat him, and it looks like Vault was upset after losing the first match, but nope, he gets excited because the battle is intense. I'll talk about Vault's character once I get to the character portion. The second round begins, and before both bladers rip their Beyblades, Vault tilts his launcher, and Shu along with 2 other bladers notice. The battle starts and Valkyrie attacks Roktavor fiercely, and Shu figures out how Valkyrie countered Roktavor's attack.
He launched at an angle, which gave the tip a better grip on the stadium floor. That narrowed the path of Valtryek's spin, increasing its power. Not bad at all.
Well, it's probably because it's an attack type. Both of the bladers use their special attacks and unleash their beast. The match ends with Rantaro defeated with a burst finish by Vault and victory Valkyrie. The episode ends with Rantaro congratulating Vault and he advances to the next round. The first episode was definitely a return to form for the show, especially after Metal Fusion reused the same plot from the first 2 episodes in season 1 and it felt like a retread of the first season. It's nice they did something different for the story this time around instead of doing the same crap again. Unlike the previous 2 series, this one is different from the 2. For instance, the main character and rival aren't enemies in the beginning, the rival doesn't have a gang of bladers that steal other bladers' points or steal Beyblades, and there's no cliffhanger at the end where the main character and rival battle in the next episode. So since we got our Tyson and Kai as well as Jinga and Kyoya for the show, we surprisingly don't have a character that's similar to Max, Ray, and Kenny. I'm glad they didn't do that because, as I've said before, it's just going to be the same thing again. But at the same time, I kind of want a character that has a similar personality and character as Max, Ray, or Kenny. Let's Go Valtryek allowed us to be introduced to several characters while getting their personalities down pretty quickly and moving in a good pace, building up some mystery and setting up future character arcs. The voice acting from the actors has improved from the previous generation and the spin-offs, and thank God the characters don't sound like characters from a generic cartoon show. Since this is now owned by an American company, they still got Canadians to voice the characters in the show. Weird. They still say Bay, which still bugs me, but they don't use it as often in the series unlike the Metal Saga. In the following episode, it shows a recap from the last episode, similar to what the previous 2 generations did. And the next day, Vault jumps joyfully because he won his first match, and since his room is upstairs, Vault's mom is annoyed at this and gets pissed off at him, and she tells him he'll be late for school. Later, we see Vault rushing to get to school and makes it just in time. This sounds familiar actually.
Gotta hurry! Gotta hurry! Gotta hurry! What? The teacher's not even here yet? Yes!
Vault and Rantaro have a small conversation, and he brags to Rantaro that he won his match and gets too cocky about it.
I left your Rocktivore in pieces. It was a pretty awesome way to win, don't you think? I mean, come on, you have to admit it was perfect!
Careful! It was a one-time thing and it doesn't give you the right to show off!
Vault's classmates are impressed that he won against Rantaro, since last episode he lost to him in the beginning. Later, we see Vault in class, and while the teacher is giving the class a lesson, he draws in his notebook and gets caught by the teacher. During lunch or recess, Vault once again brags about his victory to Tokonatsu and Nika. Rantaro gets annoyed by this, and while he was talking to Vault, Shu tells them to keep it down. They find out Shu's training in the other side, and during his training, his clothes get wet. If I trained with my Beyblade, I probably wouldn't sweat like that. Maybe it was a hot day or something. He's also training with his girlfriend, his Beyblade, and tells him he's been training for 2 hours. Holy crap, 2 hours? Vault says he'll train just as hard, but Shu tells him this.
Someone as overconfident as you after only 1 win won't make it.
Shu's got a point. You can't be bragging all the time just because you won so easily. He leaves the roof and it looks like the same rooftop from season 1 in G-Revolution. Later, Vault and Rantaro have a rematch in the gym again to see if Vault's win was just a fluke. And wouldn't you know it, Vault loses again. After his loss, Vault gets upset and goes back to the same place where every episode of Beyblade was made and trains there until midnight. Later, Nika and Tokonatsu take Vault to a puppet show at the mall at night. So a bunch of kids go to a mall just to watch a puppet show at night with no parents to look after them? Man, Japan is weird. During the puppet show, one of the puppets look like Vault, and the puppet show is similar to Vault's situation from earlier. The next day, the second match begins, and Vault's opponent is Kensuke Midorikawa, one of the guys who was at the puppet show, and he doesn't really talk, so he uses his puppets named Kirbyus to talk to his opponents. His Beyblade Kaiser Kirbyus, or King Kirbyus, is a defense type like Drasil, and his layer is rounder than Ragnarok's. Vault doesn't care what kind of Beyblade it is. He says he's going to win the match. The first round starts, and Vault apparently messes up on his launch, and loses in the first round again with a ring out finish. After the first round, we see the bladers that appeared in the last episode and watch the second match. On the right is Wakiya Murasaki and the left is Dyna or Daigo Kurigami. Wakiya says Vault is an amateur and says his rush launch is a joke, but Dyna thinks he's still got some fight in him. Before the second round starts, the audience tell Vault to just stick to a normal launch, because if he doesn't, he will lose the match again. But Vault tells him to shut up. He tells them he'll get it right and will win the match. Rantaro and his siblings cheer him on, and Shu believes Vault and Valkyrie will win against Kensuke. Kirbyus tells him he's just going to lose again since Kirbyus is a defense type, so it has the advantage. The second round starts and it looks like Vault messed up on his launch, but Valkyrie recovers from it and attacks Kirbyus, leading up to the next episode, Blast Off, Rush Launch. Vault and Kensuke continue their battle, and Valkyrie attacks Kirbyus constantly while using Rush Launch. Shu notices Kirbyus is blocking Valkyrie's every move because it's a defense type, and its tip has a good grip on the stadium. Kirbyus say Vault will never defeat Kirbyus and his blade doesn't stand a chance, but Valkyrie's attacks are getting stronger and causes Kirbyus to lose its spin. Both of the blades keep attacking until both get a sleep out. Since both Beyblades stop spinning, the referee doesn't count it and says it's a tie. The final round begins and both bladers use their special attacks and unleash their beast. The match finally ends with Vault winning with a burst finish and advances to the next round. We finally get to hear Kensuke talk.
I lost. My Kirbyus lost. Vault is one tough opponent.
Then we cut to Wakiya and Dyna and it looks like he's going to be Vault's next opponent. Dyna doesn't care who he battles, and him and Wakiya talk about Beyblades. You know, I wish they said blades or say Beyblades instead of using that idiotic term. Anyway, Vault congratulates Kensuke and gives him a hand.
Nice match. Shake on it?
What? Shake hands? What makes you think we should shake hands with you?
Vault takes Bias or Besu off of Kensuke because he wanted to shake his hand and dicks around with the puppets. Next is the second round of the tournament and Dyna appears on the stadium with his Beyblade Dark Death Scyther or Dark Doom Scyther, and his opponent is Melos and he has a generic Beyblade. The first round starts and automatically Dyna wins within 5 seconds. Yeah, that's probably equal to Kai's or Brooklyn's record, or hell, even Tyson's when he was battling the Blade Hunters. After Dyna won his match, he talks to Wakiya again.
That was a flashy move.
Yeah, well, soon you'll meet the same fate, you know.
Well, we'll see about that. My bay, Wild Wyvron, is pretty strong.
No, it isn't. But I'll save that for the characters section. The next match starts, and Shu wins his match and also wins in 5 seconds. Later, Vault meets up with Shu and tells him he did a great job on his match, and reminds him he's going to be in the finals. He also calls Shu and Rentaro his rivals. In the next episode, Vault is having dreams about his match with Dinah, and can't rip his Beyblade because it turns out he's sleeping on his side on the bed. Later, Vault asks the principal if they can have a Beyblade club in their school, for training, battling other bladers, etc. The principal decides why the heck not, and Vault asks people around his school to join his club. Unfortunately, he doesn't get anyone to join his club because other students around the school already joined the club. During recess or after school, Vault goes to Rantaro and tells him how he got the idea to make the Beyblade club. It was during episode 2. While Vault was training, he suddenly got the idea to make a club where bladers get to battle each other for fun. Rantaro asks if there's other members in the club other than him, but Vault says it's only the 2 of them. Then they have a Bey battle in their gym again because both of them are going to fight for the position of captain. The match ends with Valkyrie getting a stadium out for the seventh time, but in this round, Ragnarok went out with a burst finish. Since both Beyblades lost, Rantaro says Rockdivore bursted before Valkyrie went out of the stadium, and decides Vault should be the team captain. After their battle, Vault continues to look for more members to join his club, and looks for Kensuke at the mall. While Vault was at the mall, he watches another puppet show and talks with Kensuke's mom.
Hate to say it, but our family travels a lot doing these puppet shows, so it's hard for Ken to make friends easily.
It's like they couldn't find a voice actress for her and just chose one of the staff members to play as his mom. Later, we see Kensuke at the same place where every episode of Beyblade was made. Vault convinces Kensuke to be his friend and to join the Beyblade club, but Kerr has one condition.
We will only join if we can battle Shu. What?
They head back to school and Vault convinces Shu to battle Kensuke so he can join the Beyblade club. He tells him Kensuke's girlfriend, his blade, Kirbyus, is strong, and the only thing he needs to do is to battle Shu. They finally meet and begin their Bey battle. Shu wins the first round with a sleep out or a spin finish, and wins the second battle with a burst finish. This also looks familiar.
He burst! My Beyblade.
Shu gives good sportsmanship to Kensuke, then Kensuke just runs off for some reason. Vault thinks Shu's joining the club, but Shu declines because, like Kai, he's a lone wolf and doesn't want to associate with anyone. It turns out from behind, Dinah and Wakia were watching Kensuke and Shu's battle, and Wakia wonders how Shu got stronger. Later, Kensuke visits Vault's house and he decides to join the Beyblade club. Chiharu, or Vault's mom, invites Kensuke for supper, and yeah, Vault's family runs a bakery. The next battle in the district tournament is Wakia's, and he's battling some random blader. His blade is Wild Wyvern, or Wild Wyvron, and like I mentioned in my episode review, the design of the layer is similar to Strider Dragoon G. The battle starts and Wakia wins the match with a burst finish. In my episode review of this, I said that he won the match within 3 seconds, but actually he won within a minute, so it wasn't really 3 seconds. Then the next day, Vault oversleeps again, and Nika and Tokonatsu tackled the heck out of him. Damn, that's going to hurt. So of course, Vault is late for school again, like Tyson in episode 1 of V-Force. But at least Tyson wasn't always late for class. Then Dinah appears out of nowhere, and apparently he's a fan of Vault's rush launch. Or is he? Dinah asks Vault if they could hang out after school and if they could have a practice before their match starts the next day. Kensuke feels suspicious about him. They begin their match in the gym instead of the rooftop, and it looks like Dinah was just fricking with him after all.
Obviously, I did that on purpose.
I don't get it. What do you mean? What's the point of trying to lose?
So I could get a closer look at your rush launch. That and all of your weaknesses.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious anyway. Vault gets pissed off and heads to the skate park so he can train. He tries to use his rush launch, but he keeps failing. While Vault trains, Dinah watches him from behind and gives him the Madara rape face. The others get tired and Rantaro takes the twins home. Shu finds Vault at the skate park.
Hey, Vault, you hear me? Vault, pull it together. What happened?
I fell asleep.
You better eat something.
That is such a good idea.
He takes him to his place and cooks him a meal. Why do animes make food look so good? Like, look how delicious this looks. They make the weirdest combinations of food look so appetizing. But if you tried it in real life, it would taste disgusting, like Max's mustard on ramen. That looked freaking delicious. I wanted to try it so bad as a kid. When I did try it though, let's just say Max made my expectations too high. Anyway, Shu asked Vault why he was training so hard and says he couldn't do his rush launch and he lost to Dinah at school. We cut to Kensuke and he spots Dinah at the hospital. It turns out Dinah has a little brother named Sota or Ryota, and he's sick. They don't really say what his sickness is, but all we know is that he's sick. This scene was a tribute or homage to Crusher and Monica, and like what Monica said to Crusher, Ryota wishes Dinah luck on his match. The next day is Vault's match with Dinah, and oh look, it looks like Vault retook his ID picture. Dinah reminds Vault what he did yesterday, and that triggers Vault. The first round starts, and it looks like Vault messed up on his launch again. Dinah unleashes Death Scyther, and Vault gets the stadium out in the first match. You know, I feel like this is going to be a thing every time Vault battles someone. Vault remembers the fundamentals, and he now knows what to do. Before the second round starts, Kerr points out that Vault is pointing his launches straight, instead of lowering it like he did in the last two matches. The match begins, and both players get a burst finish. The referee tells the audience and the players that it was a simultaneous burst finish, so of course both players don't get points. Then the next round starts, and once again both players get another burst finish, and yet again another burst finish. It goes on for 12 rounds. Damn. Before the next round, Vault is impressed with Dinah's skills and doesn't want the battle to end. We have a flashback of Dinah's past. The way Vault talks in an encouraging and excited way makes Dinah suddenly remember his little brother. The 13th round starts, and both players unleash their beast, and the match is finally settled, with Vault winning with a burst finish. Damn, that was the longest battle in history. After that battle, Dinah goes to the hospital and visits his little brother again. But Vault, Rantaro, and Kensuke arrived before he did, and they play with Ryota. Vault asks Dinah if he wants to join the Beyblade club, but he declines. He does apologize to Vault for what he did to Valkyrie. The next day in school, Vault annoys Dinah in order to convince him to join the Beyblade club.
Come on, sign up! Join the club! Join!
Give it a rest.
Surrender to my will! Sign up for the Bay Club! Do it, Daigo! You know you wanna!
Following that, Chihara gives Vault some chores around the house and uses it for training, like mopping the floor, carrying bags of dirt, pulling out weights from the ground, etc. The next day, the twins wake up Vault again, but it turns out he left early to go to the tournament. The third round of the tournament begins, and Shu is chosen for the match, and his opponent is some guy named Takagi or Atsuto. Vault cheers on Shu and keeps babbling his mouth.
Good luck! And whatever you do, stay focused! Better not lose this match! Like, no pressure, but you can do it! Shoot!
Man, that's even annoying than Benkei saying bull constantly. Atsuto's girlfriend, his Beyblade, is just a generic attack type blade. They also mentioned the 4 types of girlfriends, Beyblades, and combination types have the most differences between the other 3 Beyblade types. And in this episode, they constantly keep saying that idiotic term.
You'll need that shoulder strength when you're launching your bay.
Bays.
Anyway, Shu wins his battle with a burst finish. Then we meet a new player named Hoji Kanda, and he also won his match with 2 sleepouts. He also works for Wakia, so I guess he's Wakia's servant. His blade is Holy Horsuit or Hyper Horsuit, and basically his beast is like Grifolian and Falborg. Anyway, after Hoji's match, he goes to Wakia and wishes him luck on his match. But Wakia doesn't give a crap. Man, what a dick. The next day, Vault makes a banner for the Beyblade Club, and the others don't seem to like it. Rantaro makes one as well, and I've gotta say, this one's better than Vault's. The others talk about Vault's rush launch and say it has some flaws. The reason why is because Vault gets triggered easily if an opponent pisses him off, and when that happens, he loses control of the rush launch and will eventually lose a match. The others decide to train Vault, and they use insults and distractions on him to see how he would react. While training, Vault sees Wakia standing at the door and thinks he's going to join the club. He of course says no and just leaves. During their training, a basketball hits Vault and causes him to change the position of his launch. Vault thinks he messed up the launch, but Rantaro says it has a different trajectory. The others try to find out what made Valkyrie spin fast, but Dinah figures out it was the blade's spin speed, and it was all thanks to the others. Principal Shinoda, yeah, that's his name, and the reason why I didn't say it earlier was because it wasn't important. Says that the Beyblade Club is now official, even if it has 4 members, but he says it's only temporary until they find a 5th member. This line of dialogue reminds me of another character who said the same thing.
Whatever it takes, we'll make it happen! We'll find a 5th member, and the Bay Club will be legit!
Once we finish making our blades, then we'll have to start looking for a 5th member to help us beat the Vega Bladers.
In the next episode, we see the Beyblade Club members are training on the rooftop. We then see Tokonatsu stuck on a tree because he was trying to save a kitten. Hoji helps Tokonatsu get down from the tree, and the twins forget to thank Hoji, so they follow him after he saved Tokonatsu. Vault remembers how he did his launch from last episode and says it was the basketball that caused it. They try it out to see if it was the basketball, and it doesn't work because Rantaro threw the ball too hard at Vault. We have a funny scene between them though.
Hey! You lost your mind, Honcho?
come on. You're the one that practically begged me to hit you with it.
Yeah, but not so hard!
Shu says it was his wrist that made Valkyrie spin fast, and it wasn't the basketball. The ball only forced him to lean a little too far over. It made his launch straight. So they tried out to see if Shu was right, and of course it works. Later, Hoji visits the Beyblade Club members and challenges Vault to a Bey battle. The others think the reason he came was because he wants to learn Vault's moves and his weakness before their match starts, just like Dyna. Before Hoji leaves, Rantaro and Dyna challenge him to a Bey battle. He chooses Dyna over Rantaro because Dyna's blade is an attack type like Valkyrie, and Horsuit is an endurance type like Ragnarok, so the battle will be boring if it was just an endurance type battle. They begin their battle and notice Horsuit is picking up some kind of tornado or wind like Leon. Hoji defeats Dyna with a burst finish and leaves the rooftop. He talks to Wakia saying that he's going to forfeit the match. Vault tells him not to quit the match in another deleted scene where Vault grabs Hoji. He thinks Wakia is telling Hoji to forfeit the match because of what he heard from the twins. But they heard wrong, and Wakia says it was all just a mistake and tells him what he actually said. He tells him he wants to battle Vault in the tournament because if Hoji wins instead of Vault, it'll be boring for Wakia since they battle all the time. The next day is Vault's match with Hoji. The battle begins and Valkyrie attacks Horsuit while using Rush Launch. But at the same time, Hoji uses Horsuit Field to block Rush Launch. The first match ends with Valkyrie losing with a sleep out. Wakia tells Hoji to finish off Vault and to stop toying with him. Before the second round starts, Dyna notices Hoji change his grip again and uses the Tyson launch. They begin their second battle and Vault unleashes Valkyrie and wins the match with a burst finish. Vault wins in Block A and Hoji gives good sportsmanship to Vault.
Wow, thanks!
The next match in Block B begins, and Wakia is battling some guy named Haruto, which sounds and rhymes with Naruto, and of course has a generic Beyblade like the other bladers we don't care about. The match starts and Wakia wins with a burst finish. We then cut to a new character named Orochi Gimba. All we know about him is that he has a southern accent, likes to chew gum, and likes music. The next day, Vault and Chiharu deliver bread to the Murasaki house, and Hoji takes Vault and Orochi to Wakia's training room. Wakia challenges Vault to a Bey battle and loses to him 3 times. Before Vault beats the living piss out of Wakia, he tells him to get a new girlfriend. Blade. The next day, Vault is still pissed that he lost to Wakia, and he can see him on food and his friends. Man, that's a little creepy. He can't even launch his Beyblade properly while training with the others. After Vault sulks off, the twins find Shu training. Nika trips on one of the steps and was about to get hit by Shu, and that causes him to strain his shoulder. Seriously, ouch. He asks them where Vault is and tells them this.
Could you ask him something for me?
What is it?
Ask him how Valtryek's doing. Okay?
Vault finds out the twins are having a Bey battle with their friend and realize it's not about the opponents or Wakia. It was all about the game and just having fun. See, this is what I like in Burst. They show or teach kids morals and lessons. Like, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game. You shouldn't feel down just because you lost to someone and says you can't blade. Anyway, Vault gets his confidence back and battles Shu to a battle. Following that, we see Shu at the doctor's, and the doctor says he can't blade for a while because of what happened in the last episode. The twins tell Vault they saw Shu at the doctor's and head towards where he is. He gets him a crap ton of ice for his shoulder, and they also use it for making shaved ice or snow cones. He once again convinces him to join the Beyblade Club, but declines again because he prefers to train and work alone. He does say to Vault that he's getting better thanks to the club. In school, Vault helps Shu so he doesn't strain his shoulder a lot, like helping him carrying a desk, picking up a pencil, opening a door, and getting his bag. You know, Vault, he has another arm that he can use to do those things. Vault tells the others Shu is injured, but Shu says he's okay and says Vault is making it a huge deal. Shu takes the others to the rooftop and challenges Dyna to a Bey battle. Since this is a practice match, Shu wins with a burst finish. The next day is a semifinals match, and the final 4 bladers are Vault, Shu, Wakia, and Orochi. The first match is Vault's match with Wakia, and before their battle, Wakia has a few words to Shu.
Try not to mess up and lose to Orochi. Remember, you're my opponent in the final.
Since Wakia battled Vault before, he thinks he's going to defeat Vault again and win the match. The first round starts, and it looks like Vault won in the first match. Nice. While Vault is happy he won the first match, it looks like Wakia has something up his sleeve.
You've asked for it. Now I'm gonna show you how powerful I really am.
Damn, this guy was wearing weights all this time? It's similar to Kai removing his scarf in G-Revolution. And of course, like that scene, Sunrise deleted it. Anyway, the second round starts, and Wakia wins with the stadium out while using his special attack called Shield Launch. Basically, if a Beyblade hits Wyvern, it just deflects the other blader's attack. Or it just goes back and forth, like clackers. Their third battle begins, and both bladers unleash their beast, and the match is settled, with Vault winning with a burst finish, and enters the finals. Next round in the semifinals is Shu's battle with Orochi. Orochi's blade is Obelisk Odin, or Omni Odax, and yeah, his beast is based on the god Odin. While both bladers are ready to launch, we see signs of Shu's shoulder getting worse. worst. The battle starts and both players get a stadium out. After Shu picked up Spriggan and randomly bursted, Shu would have lost to Orochi if it weren't for that stadium out. Their second battle begins and both players use their special attacks and unleash their beast. The match ends with Shu winning with a burst finish and will be battling Vault in the finals. Orochi gives good sportsmanship to Shu, and while shaking hands, Shu's shoulder starts to hurt. Orochi remembers seeing Shu at the doctor's and finds out he's injured. So yeah, Shu didn't really tell anyone that he was injured after that episode. After the semifinals, Kensuke talks to Shu with his real voice.
Vault sure is a good guy, isn't he? Huh? I just wanted to say how cool it is to see two good friends keep a promise to each other. I know it sounds kind of weird.
Not at all.
The others celebrate Vault's win and throw him a party, and all they're eating is bread and juice. At least it's not burgers and fries. The others wonder what the heck is taking Shu so long. It turns out Shu went to the doctor's again, and the doctor tells him to stop Beyblading for a while until he recovers. But Shu tells him he has a battle with Vault and can't just back out of the tournament. In the next episode, we have a little flashback of Vault and Shu's first battle, and as always, Vault is late. It turns out before, Shu sucked at blading. Our rival, everyone. But he does get better as time went on, and that's how he became strong. Anyway, Vault visits Shu and says he should forfeit the match, because he doesn't want to see Shu injure his arm more. Shu gets pissed off at Vault in another deleted scene.
Don't you dare!
He takes Vault to the skate park where they had their first battle and shows him a new move. And so the finals begins. And before it starts, we're introduced to another new character named Shaka Shakadera, or Xander Shakadera. We don't know much about him, but all we know is that he's tall, said he's one of the top 4 bladers, and has known Vault, Shu, and the twins for years. He came to the tournament because of Vault and Shu's battle. The finals finally begin, and everyone from school and the previous bladers all come to watch the match. The first round begins, and both bladers attack fiercely, and both unleash their beasts. You would think the battle would end after they unleash Valtryek and Spryzen, but nope, the match just began and Valtryek loses in the first match with the stadium out. Vault gets excited again and notices Shu has a new move called Upper Launch. You know, I think they're just going to add the name Launch in every special attack. Vault tries to think of a way how to dodge Shu's Upper Launch, and just randomly overheats. Shu calls a timeout and the others tell Vault to remember what he learned during training. Tokonatsu gives him water so he can cool off. Instead of pouring that on your head, I would drink it instead. During the second round, Shu knocks out Vault's blade with a burst finish, but the referee is trying to figure out if it bursted before it hit the ground. He tells the audience that it was another stadium out, and the battle continues. Before the next round starts, we have a flashback of Vault, Shu, and Shaka when they were kids. Basically, since Vault was a kid, he never gave up and kept charging forward. The third round starts, and Vault unleashes Valkyrie while using Rush Launch. The third battle ends with a burst finish by Vault, and both bladers have equal points. Shu takes another timeout and goes to the waiting room. Shaka follows him and fixes Shu's arm so he can launch his Beyblade properly, but it's only temporary. Shu re-enters the stage and the final battle starts. Both bladers use everything they got, and this battle is very reminiscent of Tyson's battle with Kai back in season 1 during the qualifier battle. But there's a little twist at the end of the match. Instead of the main character winning the finals, it's...
Both bays stopped at almost exactly the same time!
Spryzen gets 1 point for a survivor finish. That's 3-2, Shu Kurenai wins! Yes!
Yeah, the first time I watched this, I was shocked. I didn't expect anything like that to happen at all. Usually in Beyblade or in anime, the main character wins against the rival in tournaments or in a fight. Vault may have lost the finals, but at least he won in second place.
Shu, I'll see you next at the national tournaments.
You bet.
ちょっとこのまま眠らせてくれ。よくここまで持ちこたえた。ゆっくり眠れ。あとは任せろ。
I lost.